Talia Brooks didn't look like an FBI agent that afternoon. No blazer, no badge showing, no stern air of authority. Just a woman in a deep forest green maxi dress, a pair of worn-in flat sandals, and gold hoop earrings that caught the dying sunlight as she drove. Her hair was swept into a loose bun, her makeup light, natural. She'd spent the entire day laughing with her family, blowing up balloons, and slicing sheet cake for her niece's 8th birthday. She looked, for all the world, like any other black woman headed home after a long day with loved ones. It was just past dusk when she turned off Highway 11, making her way back toward her quiet street in McDonough, Georgia. The kind of neighborhood where lawnmowers hummed on weekends and kids zigzagged through sprinklers in bathing suits. One more turn and she'd be easing into her garage. She didn't expect anything out of the ordinary. Then the flashing red and blue lights filled her rearview mirror. Talia frowned, instinctively glancing at her speedometer. She hadn't been speeding. No stop signs missed. No swerve, no erratic driving. Her signal blinked as she gently pulled over to the shoulder. She rolled her window down halfway, her hands steady on the wheel. Her heart wasn't racing, not yet. She knew the procedure. She'd taught it. But there was a difference between knowing something and living it. The officer approached quickly, no greeting, no explanation. His voice was hard, sharp. Engine off. Hands on the wheel. Talia complied without a word. Turned the key, placed her hands exactly where he said. Calm. Controlled. May I ask why I'm being stopped? She said, her voice even. I'll be the one asking questions, he snapped. Where you coming from? A family gathering in Monroe. You alone? Yes. He circled to the back of her car, inspecting the plate, then returned to her window. His gaze bore into her. This vehicle matches a BOL, a possible suspect in a theft reported 2 blocks from here. Talia blinked. A theft? She hadn't stopped anywhere but her sister's house. May I show you my identification? She asked. Hands where I can see them. Her fingers didn't move. She didn't flinch. I'm reaching into my bag for my ID. It's on the seat. I didn't give you permission. Keep your hands up. This wasn't procedure. Not even close. Something shifted inside her then. That click she'd learned to listen for. A warning. She didn't argue. She didn't panic. She sat there and let him believe he had control. But she watched everything, his tight grip on the flashlight, the way his shoulders squared with unnecessary aggression, the fact that he never really looked at her, only through her. A second cruiser rolled up behind him. Back up. Talia's fingers had started tingling. She hadn't noticed how tightly she was clenching the steering wheel. A female officer stepped out and stayed back, lingering near the curb. I need you out of the vehicle, the male officer barked. Talia took a breath. Officer, I'm reaching for my ID. Please listen to me. I said out of the vehicle. Now. She unbuckled, moving slowly, deliberately. Her badge was in her wallet on the passenger seat, but she wasn't about to reach for anything. Her left foot touched the ground, then her right. She stood upright, not tall, but unshaken. Turn around. He didn't wait. He grabbed her wrist, spun her roughly, forced her arms behind her back. The cuffs were cold. Tight. Talia said nothing. The female officer looked mildly surprised but didn't move. Suspect detained, the officer muttered into his radio, his hand pressing firmly on her shoulder. Talia's jaw tightened, not in pain, but from the weight of the moment. She'd seen behavior like this before, from scared rookies or power-hungry patrolmen. But never directed at her. Never this close. He hadn't even let her reach for her ID. She stood beside her car, wrists burning in the cuffs. Her dress shifted in the breeze, but she didn't notice. Her mind narrowed to a single directive. Stay still. The officer paced, muttering into his radio. Black female. Approximate age, 40s. Driving a dark gray Camry. Detained for questioning. Possible connection to neighborhood theft. No mention of her compliance. No note of her calm. Just a profile on paper. The female officer finally stepped forward, glancing at the cuffs and then at him. Nothing was said. Talia spoke gently. Officer, please check my identification. It's in the wallet on the passenger seat. The male officer sneered. You'll stay right there until I say otherwise. I understand, but it might clarify a few things. Her voice was calm. Measured. the exact opposite of his. He hesitated, clearly annoyed, then yanked the car door open and began rifling through her belongings like she'd already been convicted. Papers rustled. The snap of her wallet being opened. Silence. Then a single, stunned whisper. What is this? The gold badge caught the dome light. Federal Bureau of Investigation. Special Agent Talia M. Brooks. 17 years of service. He froze. The female officer stepped closer, her eyebrows rising. He turned back, pale. Why didn't you say something? Talia's voice was like ice water. I did. No anger. No raised voice. Just truth. He took a step toward her, fumbling with the key. Let's get these off. She turned so he could reach the cuffs. Not out of trust, but because she wanted this part over with. His hands shook. The metal clinked once. Then again before the cuffs finally loosened. Talia rubbed her wrists briefly. You okay? The female officer asked softly. Talia met her gaze. Physically, yes. The male officer avoided eye contact. There's been a string of incidents, he said. You understand, right? Your car matched. Matched what? Talia cut in. Was there a plate number? A confirmed suspect description. He didn't answer. You saw me. You assumed. You escalated. And now you're standing here embarrassed, not because you did something wrong, but because I have a badge. He didn't refute it. You didn't get it wrong, she continued. You chose wrong. There's a difference. The words hit hard. She didn't expect an apology. Didn't ask for one. Your badge number and full name, she said flatly. He recited both, barely above a whisper. Talia walked back to her car, retrieved her phone, and took a photo of her wrists red, marked, undeniable. Then she snapped a picture of his nameplate. The badge still sat on the passenger seat, gleaming. She picked it up slowly. Not to flash it, but to remind herself who she was. What she'd earned. He stood awkwardly, arms crossed. Agent Brooks, he said, trying to regain some ground. I apologize for the inconvenience. Inconvenience, she repeated, shaking her head. I mean, sometimes we make fast calls in the field. You're trained to assess, she interrupted. To ask questions. To follow procedure. You skipped all of it. She turned toward the female officer. What's your name? Officer Jenna Rollins, the woman replied. You saw how this went down. You saw me comply. Are you going to report this? Rollins hesitated. I'll speak to my supervisor. Good. Talia looked back at the male officer. Do you know what could have happened if I flinched? If I raised my voice? You didn't know who I was. You didn't care. He didn't respond. She took one more photo. Her wrists. The cuffs. The timestamp. You made a choice tonight, she said. And I'll be making mine. Then she got back in her car and drove off. No slamming the door. No screeching tires. Just the quiet hum of an engine and a woman going home. She didn't look back. The drive was short, but every second replayed like a film she didn't want to see. Not out of fear, out of exhaustion. The worst part? She knew if she hadn't had that badge, she might still be standing in cuffs or worse. Talia didn't let it slide. The next morning, she filed a formal report. She spent the day combing through every detail. No embellishments. Just the truth. By 9 a.m., she was in the Atlanta field office, sitting across from Internal Affairs investigator Gregory Sims. She told him everything. When she was done, he looked up. You're not the first to mention Officer Logan's name, he said. Excuse me? 8 formal complaints in the last 18 months. 3 from black men, 2 from Latina women. 1 Navy vet. All dismissed. Talia's fists clenched. And nothing's been done? He's been counseled. Sent to refresher training. That's it. She leaned forward. You mean they've been covering for him? Sims didn't deny it. This will go straight to the department's disciplinary board, he promised. It won't be buried. Talia nodded. I didn't do this because I wear a badge. I did it because if someone without one went through this, they'd be forgotten. That afternoon, the story leaked. Someone inside the department. Within 24 hours, headlines read, Federal Agent Mistaken for Suspect. The protests came next. The outrage. The media. By the 3rd day, Officer Logan was placed on administrative leave. A week later, Talia stood in front of a packed community hall. I'm not here tonight as Agent Brooks, she said. I'm here as someone who followed every rule and still got cuffed on the side of the road. The room was silent. She told her story, not to get applause but to be heard. And when she left that night, a teenage girl asked, "Do you think he'll be fired?" "I don't know," Talia said. "But I spoke up so someone else wouldn't have to." A week later, she stood in a worn-down youth center, speaking off the cuff to a room of kids. She wasn't there to be a hero. She was there because silence helps the wrong people keep power. And as the sun set that evening, Talia sat on her porch, a quiet strength radiating from her. She wasn't just an agent. She was a witness, a voice, and a reminder that dignity isn't earned at its owed.